He was just a peaceful man, yet they chose to punish him for being peaceful. In the old days, when the moon was brighter and elders still gathered under the Enuku Iruko tree to tell stories, there was a kingdom called Ajeromi, a peaceful land. Farmers worked the soil, women traded loudly in the market, children ran freely through the red earth roads. But what truly made the kingdom special was a young man named Ademide. Ademide was different, not because he was rich, not because he was powerful, but because wherever he went, good things happened. The sick got better. The hungry were fed. Quarrels between families ended when he spoke. Even the hardest hearts softened around him. People began to whisper in the markets.
This boy don't do too much. He is too proud. Be like say he get juju. He no get sense. The juju strong oh.
But you see, in many villages, when light shines too brightly, darkness begins to feel threatened. And in Ajeromi, darkness was already watching. The chiefs of the land did not like Ademide. He was just a carpenter's son.
This boy is just a carpenter's son. Why are people respecting him more than they respect us? It is outrageous. We cannot allow this. This young man is turning the people against us. If we don't stop him now, tomorrow, the people will listen to him more than the throne itself.
The chiefs gathered secretly one night. Oil lamps flickered inside the palace chamber. One elder slammed his staff on the floor. This young man is turning the people against us. Another hissed. If we don't stop him now, tomorrow the people will listen to him more than the throne itself. But there was a problem. Ademide had done nothing wrong. No crime, no scandal, nothing. So they did what wicked men have done since the beginning of time. They created lies. Ademide often spent his nights praying quietly on a hill outside the village. That night was no different. The air was cool. The stars watched silently above him. But suddenly, footsteps approached. Torches, soldiers, and leading them was someone Ademide trusted. One of the young men who had always followed him around. The boy stepped forward slowly. His hands trembled, but the bag of silver coins tied to his waist made him brave. "Is this the man?" the soldiers asked. The boy nodded. That was all they needed. Within seconds, they grabbed Ademide roughly. The one who healed their sick was now treated like a thief. Before sunrise, the entire village had gathered at the palace courtyard. The chiefs sat proudly on their stools like judges. One after another, false witnesses stepped forward. He insulted the throne. He wants to overthrow the chiefs. He claims heaven speaks through him. Each lie was worse than the last. But Ademide did something strange. He did not argue. He did not shout. He simply stood there, quietly. His silence confused the crowd. Even the king, who had been called to judge the case, looked troubled. Finally, the king stood. "This man, I see no evil in him." But the chiefs were prepared. They had already turned the crowd. Soon, angry voices filled the courtyard. "Punish him! Make an example of him!" The king sighed deeply. Sometimes leaders choose peace over truth. And that day, truth lost. The punishment was brutal. Ademide would be nailed to a wooden frame outside the village, a death reserved for the worst criminals. Soldiers whipped him until his back was covered in wounds. They placed a painful crown made from thorn branches on his head to mock him. Then they forced him to carry the heavy wooden frame through the village. The same people he had helped now watched in silence. Some cried quietly, others were too afraid to speak. Halfway through the road, Ademide collapsed under the weight. A passerby was forced to help carry the wood the rest of the way. When they reached the hill outside the village, the soldiers began their cruel work. The hammer echoed across the land, metal through flesh, pain beyond imagination. They lifted the wooden frame high for everyone to see. As Ademide hung there, struggling to breathe, something strange began to happen. The sun slowly hid behind thick clouds. The wind stopped. Even the birds disappeared from the sky. Some villagers whispered in fear, "This is not ordinary." but the chiefs only laughed. Let him save himself if he has power. Yet Adimide did something unexpected. Instead of cursing the people killing him, he prayed for them. May heaven forgive them. They do not understand what they are doing.
May heaven forgive them. They do not understand what they are doing.
Hours passed. His strength slowly faded. Then finally, with one last breath, his head fell. And at that moment, the ground shook violently. Women screamed, men fell to their knees. Even the chiefs felt fear crawl into their bones. The innocent man was dead, but something in the air said the story was not finished. A kind elder from the village asked permission to bury Adimide properly. They placed his body in a cave carved inside a rock hill. A massive stone sealed the entrance. Guards were placed there to make sure no one touched the body. For 2 days, sadness covered Ajerumi like a dark cloth. The people who believed in him hid in fear. It felt like hope itself had been buried in that cave. On the 3rd morning, before the sun fully rose, the earth trembled again. The stone rolled away from the cave entrance. The guards fled in terror. Inside the cave, there was nothing. The body was gone. Later that day, whispers spread through the village like wildfire. Some said they had seen Adimide walking again, alive, not wounded, not weak, but stronger than before. And suddenly, the chiefs realized something terrifying. You can kill a good man, but you cannot bury the truth he carries. Years later, elders would still tell the story under the moonlight. The story of the man who died though he had done no wrong, the man whose blood touched the earth, yet brought life instead of revenge. You already know who that man is. Tell us in the comments.